Hello guys, this is Highroller, and in this video we're gonna be talking basically everything warrior, from skills, from racial skills, and to stats. Okay, to start off with generic skills, basically devastating blow to unlock the flawless strike, which is a basic skill for a warrior. You need it for every single build. For charge, same thing as well. You don't really need it too much for PvE. Rank 2 is okay for maximum. Uh, Agonizing Strike, uh, rank 3 as well, basically to unlock the Fatal Blow, which is the basically the skill that you deal the most damage with. Uh, Lunge is another skill next to Devastating Blow and Flawless Strike to build up the combat advantage, as the Fatal Blow and the Whirlwind require those. Okay, the next skill is Shield Slam. Not really used too much by warriors, maybe for a tank PvP build, just basically to knock the target down and whatnot. Die Hard, definitely a must for raid, for PvP, for PvE farming, whatever you're doing. Rank 3 is most recommended because it decreases the cooldown with each rank. Okay, Forceful Kick, you can have it for PvP, PvE, and basically everything. It just depends the route you go with. Usually take about maybe rank 2 for PvP. For PvE, maybe rank 1 just to unlock the Adrenaline Buzz. Okay, Intimidate, you can use it in PvP, but it's not really a need, I guess. It's just a skill that's there to taunt the target. But for tanking, it's definitely must. Okay, let's see, Arching Blow. Mainly used for PvP, rank 3. As long as the target is knocked down, you will be able to use it right away. It does enormous amount of damage, especially if it crits. Okay, Hack is to slow down the person, mainly used for 1 versus 1, just to slow down the person so you're not kited. Let's see. Okay, Jagged Slice used to be really good in a patch prior, I think 4.03 or something like that. It used to be really OP, but not much use now. I would not recommend using it right now. Okay, Adrenaline Buzz. Let's see. Basically, it regenerates your energy for 100% for 15 seconds. Basically rank 3 a must for whatever you do. Aura of Ferocracy, level 3 as well, for everything basically, except the tank. Let's see. Okay, Double Blow is basically AoE and also builds up your combat advantage, mostly used in the PvE, but sometimes I do take it for PvP as well. Just when I'm blinded or something like that, I can use it still and build up my combat advantage, so I'm ready to use the Fatal Blow. Let's see. Vicious Spin, usually just used for PvE. It's an AoE skill that does melee damage to everything around you, and basically for 70 yards range. Okay, and also decreases your speed as well. I used to be just a single hit before, but now it's a cast time basically. So, but yes, for PvE, rank 3 to unlock the Whirlwind, which is the step up from it, and It's a really good AoE skill. You can build up quite a bit of DPS with it. Also, you can use it in a massive PvP. If you're, for example, if you're blinded, and if you have enough combat advantage, you can use it and do AoE to everything around you, basically. But I usually don't take it for PvP, as I like to do single target damage. Okay, Fatal Blow we talked about earlier with Agonizing Strike, usually rank 3 for everything what you do. Rapid Slash is step up for Double Blow. Like I said, usually used just by tanks. You don't need it for PvP. Just the Double Blow is good enough. Okay, Heroic Might, a tier skill, level 52 skill. Usually do the rank 3 for basically whatever I do. Okay, Reason Aggression grants you actually combat advantage with more rank. It lasts for longer. Like we talked about earlier, combat advantage is to use the skills such as Fatal Blow and Whirlwind. Okay, let's move on to the Talent Grid Fighter. We're gonna talk about all of the rubies in here as well. Okay, first one is self-explanatory. It increases your vitality by 5. Rank 3, let's see, go by 15. It's basically just increases your HP. The next skill is Daredevil. It increases your determination by 9. And what it does, it's, let's see, basically, if you are getting attacked, so for tanks is good, and in PvP is really good. Increases the damage for every attack. Basically, the more you have it, the more damage you deal. Okay, let's go to Slaughter. Basically, critical strike for the named in there, for the skill named in there. I usually take it just for PvE, but if you want to try to be lucky in PvP, you can, but not recommend it. Okay, Sign of Weakness. It basically decreases the fear duration by 25%, which is really good, as people tend to CC warriors all the time as they hit hard. Okay, Butcher increases the damage, really useful skill for PvP and PvE. Blind Combat, self-explanatory, just for PvP. Okay, let's see, Bloody Massacre. If you want to try to do duel, take the skill. Basically, actually, let's see. Bloodbath is up here, not a recommended skill, so you do not need these 3 rubies. Bloodbath is really useless in my opinion. Okay, Team Play, just for PvE, as every member nearby you increases your damage. At rank 3, I believe it's 2% for each member. So 6 members or 5 members, that's 10% more damage. So really useful skill. Okay, Jagged Slice duration by 1. I mean, it used to be a good skill, but not anymore, as the Jagged Slice is just useless. Anger, also, from what I've heard and researched, it does not work. So in order for it to work, you would need 120 anger, which is pretty hard to achieve. Okay, let's move on to Bushido, rank 1. Restores the 1 energy every 2 seconds. There's 3 ranks of them, 1 in each of the other talent grids. I use them mostly for PvE, but PvP is really useful as well. Okay, let's move to Verdict, or what everybody calls DD. The rank 1, basically you deal 50% more damage on a target only. so it does not work for AoE anymore. It just puts a buff on a target, lasts for 15 seconds, and it basically do 50% more damage on the rank 1, and rank 2 you do 100% more damage. Controlled Rage is a really useful skill, mostly for PvP. If you're planning on tanking with a 2-hand, it's also good as well, as when you use your ferocracy, it puts your armor, or decreases your armor by 0, and without it, it's by 20%, which is quite a bit. Okay, Thumbs Down is a good skill for PvP. It just depends the other rubies that you take that increase the knockdown and whatnot. Basically deal 8% 8% damage at rank 1, and I think 25 at rank 3. So really useful skill, deal quite a bit of more damage, especially if the target is not knocked down by charge or by the AoE knockdown with the arching blow. So let's see. The next skill is Long Swing for dual weapons or parried weapons. It increases your damage dealt by them. Really good skill if you want to try and play with the parried weapons. Same thing for Dueler. It self-explanatory. Damage dealt by parried weapons increased by 2%. Damage spread by 33 is decreased. Basically, what that means, if you try to do AoE, the targets really have to be close to each other. Dueler. Let's see, critical strike by parried weapons by 7%. Let's see, I think it's about 20%. Yep, 20% for rank 3. Basically for PvE skill, but if you like to play with it for PvP as well, it's an okay skill to scav, but a waste of rubies in my opinion, as critting is basically really lucky now. Okay, we're done with that grid. Let's go to Talent Grid Bodyguard. Good as new. Reduces your charge cooldown by 10. Definitely a must for PvP and PvE. Pebble Wall, Stony Resilience, restores it in battle at 5% of your hit points. I take that rank 1. Let's see. Desire for Life is ruby dedicated to Die Hard. Reduces the cooldown of it, and both of them are good. Pebble Wall as well, rank 3. Let's see. Knee Shot is good if you want to do some extra damage in PvE. Not necessary, but in PvP is a really good skill if people try to kite you. It slows them down. Let's see. Most of these rubies, they've changed since the updates. So, if the shield is equipped, critical damage is reduced by 7%. Rank 3 is 20%, 21%. So basically, if you try to do a PvP with the tank build, it's an okay thing to have, but not a necessary, as not many people crit. But for PvE is quite recommended, as in higher sectors, things do tend to crit quite often. Okay, the next skill is Master of Defense. Shield block, rate increase by 5%, and I believe 15% at rank 3. I'm not sure if the block works anymore, or if you can block anymore. I haven't tested it fully, so I usually just tend to leave it out. Let's see, counterattack. Basically, when you block the damage, receive 3 energy back, which is really good if the blocks still work, but I really don't think that it works. So these 3 and these 3 can be left out. Okay, proficiency is a stat that increases your damage by how much you have it, and that's the percent. Okay, so that's basically needed skill. Duration of control, effect applied. So let's see. Accept this. Slow down, fear, knockdown, stunning, blinding, and so on. Which really I don't know what else is left there. If somebody wants to comment, go ahead and comment. But I usually leave this one out. Okay, might over magic. Shield block magic, 34% chance to block physical damage, which, like I said before, I don't think the block works right now or anymore. I'm not sure. So these 3 skills can be left out as well. Okay, increase your chest to parry. Parry, same as block, doesn't work anymore. So leave them out as well. So let's see, 1, 3, 3, 6, 3, 9. 312. 12 rubies that basically don't work well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just reading the current translation for the skills. Okay, now to Bushido, at rank 1 increases 1 energy every 2 seconds. At rank 2, 2 energy every 2 seconds. And rank 3 is in the last grade, as we will get to it. But it increases or restores your energy 3 every 2 seconds. Use it both for PvE and PvE as a tank or a 2-hand, even parried weapons. Okay, if the shield is equipped, the incoming damage may be reduced by so and so. Let's see, what is it at rank 3? Reduced by 0. I don't know if this is a correct translation, but really not used much by warriors, at least not by me. Okay, let's go to Gladiator. Really good for tanks and also for the PvP tank, basically. It's self-explanatory, 7% for rank 1. I think 20% increased at rank 3. Really useful skill. I mean, I use it if I tank just to help my aggro. Let's see. Starlight Defense grants a group member an effect, generates 25 less less threat and protects against the dead. Basically, if you put this on somebody, it will if they do get to die, it's gonna like DF from a healer. They will stop taking damage, and damage that they take will be transferred to you. Pretty good skill if you do something risky with a healer and you think that they're gonna pull aggro. We used it in Mausoleum of Sparks quite a bit. Let's see. Take cover increases your block rate. Once again, the block doesn't work right now. Not as good as before, I guess. So you can leave these 2 out as well. And Shield Slam, or Handy Shield, increases the damage by 10% at rank 1. See, 20% on rank 3 or 2. Not much used as the Shield Slam is not widely used by warriors, so I mean it's up to you if you want to play with different builds. It's just personal preference for me. I don't use Shield Slam, and I don't use these rubies. Okay, let's go to the last talent grid, Lance Warrior. There's a lot of useful rubies in here for a warrior. Okay, the first three increase your vigor, which is stat that increases your zero damage and healing by factor of 100 or 1982 for my 8445. So I'm really not sure how they're calculated, but let's see. I mean, it's an okay skill because you need to unlock the natural bone killer, which is a really good ruby as well. It self-explanatory, increases damage dealt by agonizing strike, fatal blow, vicious spin on whirlwind. I use it both in PvP and PvE. Swiftness, if you're getting kited too much in PvP, uh, use it. Uh, Once again, self-explanatory. Each stack successfully damage or it deals damage to a single target, increases warrior's movement by 5%, and stacks to 3 times. Let's see what it is at rank 2. Okay, by 10%, so 30% faster at the full stacks for 7 seconds, so you can chase that person down. Okay, Crushing Blow, really powerful skill at rank 1. Uh, Basically an AoE skill that you need to land perfectly in between quite a few people, or just a single target as well, as it will deal an enormous amount of damage, even at rank 1. Let's see. Caffeine, duration of slowdown effects. Once again, while kited, people will slow you down, and this is necessary ruby for PvP. PvE is useless. Let's see. Feint. Trustability spends 15% less energy to hand. When two-hand weapon is equipped. Excuse me. Use it both for PvE and for PvE. Self-explanatory. Basically reduces the energy cost. Okay, let's move on to Musclehead. Increases critical strike for the skills named, and it's a good PvE skill, but for PvP, not recommended. Usually just do rank 1 just to unlock Bash so you can stun, and I believe knockdown. Yep, knock down the people for 5 seconds at rank 2. Okay, now it depends what class you're fighting. But elemental, natural, divine resistance by 3%. It's really good against mages. 9%. I mean, they do hit quite hard, so 9% can even me like 900 or let's see, 90k damage reduced. So it can be life or death situation. So if you're fighting a mage, it's a useful skill, but not necessary. Okay, lucky, another critical strike ruby or a chance to do critical strike for the named skills. Just PvE skill in my opinion. For PvP, if you want it, you can, but you're not gonna crit much. Okay, unstoppable force. Basically, when you charge a target in PvP, if they try to blind you, try to stun you, knock you down, uh, you will be immune to it while you're charging at him. So it's a really good skill. For example, if you got call drops down on your below your feet and you want to charge the scout, just take the ruby, charge, and you will not be knocked down. Okay, let's see. Street Fighter, basically more percent to knock down a target and increases the duration by 1 at rank 1, and I think 3, no, 2. seconds longer at rank 3. So basically, going back to the first grid, fighter, as we talked about, thumbs down increases the damage knockdown to the knockdown target. So this is really good. If you use parried weapons, you can knock him down and do 4 or 5 good hits on him while they're knocked down. And also it's good for two-hand as well. Let's see, low flight, not even gonna talk about it. It's self-explanatory and it's useless. Okay, let's go to combat training. Basically, damage increase by the named skills. Um, Useful skill for PvP, basically headbutt. I don't know if I talked about it earlier, but a headbutt is a really good skill. It knocks the person black and knocks them down as well. So once again, for PvP skill and PvE if you want to deal some extra damage. So coming back to the first grid again, thumbs down, knocks them down for longer. Uh, let's see, Street Fighter keeps them knocked down for longer. So basically, if you do a charge and you knock them down, the person will be knocked down for 2 extra seconds. Plus, let's see. It doesn't really say it, but I think it's like 2 seconds as well. So 2 plus 2 is 4 seconds, and for those 4 seconds, you can do. I think it was 25. Yep, 25 extra damage, or 25% extra damage. Okay, but yeah, anyways, moving on. Bullseye, really good skill as well. Damage dealt by devastating blow, flawless strike, double blow, rapid slash. Your basic skills increases by 5%. I think 15% at the rank 3. So n- definitely needed skills for PvE and PvP. Okay, Lance Warrior only for two-hand, uh, self-explanatory at rank 2. Damage inflicted by two-hand weapon increased by 4%. Melee range increased by 3 yards. So basically, you don't have to stack on the target. You can be away for them to still be able to hit him. So right about there. And it would increase it by 3 more yards. So probably about here you will be able to hit the target still. I might be exaggerating, might be a little closer, but still quite good. If person is kiting you, you don't have to stack right on them to attack them. Anyways, moving on, Bushido rank 3, as well as we talked about, good for PvE, PvP, tank, um, anything you do is good, but not too necessary, as it's not a big deal, I guess. Uh, Moving on to Crush and Blow, basically do a lot more damage at rank 2, and as you can see, the cooldown is decreased by 1 minute at rank 2. So a really good skill for PvE. Uh, Deals enormous amount of damage. I guess for AOD you can use it as well, as there's a lot more people. So uh, I usually don't use it for PvP, but sometimes I tend to play around with it. Okay, moving on. Thick plate. If you have two-hand equipped, I mean, you lose quite a bit of armor because there's no shield. So these skills or these rubies are really good as they increase your armor by 9%, which can be quite a difference. I use it for both PvE and PvP. Not much for PvE, as I don't pull too much aggro. But if I wanted to fail proof, I take it just in case I have to tank a mob for whatever amount of time if the tank dies. Okay, moving on. Not another, let's see, CC reducer, knockdowns and stuns, duration reduced by 25%. So basically, if you're knocked down by 10 seconds, take this ruby would take the chance down to 25% less. So if 10 seconds turns into, let's see, 7.5 seconds, maybe less. That's just a generic, not saying you're going to be stunned or knocked down for 10 seconds. Just a number. Anyways, that's a quick overview of the skills and the Ruby points. Okay, now we're gonna move into the racial skills. First one is harassing yell. Self-explanatory, reduces the movement speeds, and finesse, which I think is determination, but I'm not too sure. Could be brutality. In 15 yards range by 50%. So once again, if you are kited quite a bit, but the person is near you, use it, slow them down, get to them, and do your thing. Uh, Terrifying shout basically fears 5 enemies around you in 10 yards for 4 seconds. It just depends what your willpower is at. If they have it low, it's longer. If they have their blessing off, it's even longer. Or if they have him on, and if they have quite a bit of willpower, it's less. Tricky moves increases your stamina, which is your HP, and movement speed by 25% for 20 seconds. Used to be agility, but they switched it to stamina. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. I mean, if you're running or trying to kite somebody or trying to stay alive for a little bit, use the skill, run away, get healed up, go back into the action. Okay, then I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but basically AoE knockdown, 5 enemies within 10 yards. So it's good for PvE and PvP, no matter what you do. You can, with going back to the rubies, damage increase by 25%, and you can have them stunned by 2 seconds and 100% knockdown. And basically, it's a good skill overall. I recommend that for PvP the most, as if your charge is down and you want to use your arcing blow, use your AoE knockdown, have the target selected, and go right into the arcing blow. And then what you can do, basically charge them again after your arcing blow is off the cooldown, and arcing blow again. Okay, one trick that I'm gonna tell to everybody is you can see my hotkey. It's either equals or mouse middle button or MMB. So basically, if you're a clicker, I mean, you don't have to look at the person and you don't have to click and just press the mouse button or middle mouse button and charge them, then arcing blow, then yeah, do your regular combat or your regular rotation. Merge skills, um, everybody knows them. I mean, there's really no need to explain them. I think I forgot a couple rubies. Insta shot, usually, or aim shot is cast time, as you can see. But taking that ruby, it would be insta with 2.5% or 2.5 seconds cooldown. Okay. Warden. Uh, Not sure why that name, but basically for your knee shot, let's see, second ruby grid. For your knee shot, decreases their speed for 10 seconds by 50%, If you take these, basically increases it to 58% and 75% at rank 3. I mean, not really needed skill. You can take it rank 1 once you go to Crushing Blow or rank 2, and 58% is just good enough. And you save 2 rubies. For the builds, I will have builds for every named warrior type in there, so you guys can look him through. This is just a basic run through of a warrior and how to. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. But like I said, it's mostly just pretty easy class to play. But many people think that there's just PvE and PvP build, which they're wrong. There are many of them, as I named them in my thread. Uh, let's see, what else can I talk about? Oh yes, stats. Okay, anger. Let's go to useless stat. Basically, it doesn't work in my opinion. So just ignore it. If you can avoid it, do so. Tenacity. It's actually translated wrong, but the more tenacity you have, slower you will get a one complexity. So you do not. Let's see. Oh, never mind. It used to be translated more. It said that you will deal so and so much damage. The skill is mostly for tanks and massive PvP, I guess. Bloodlust, moving on to it. Basically, the more you have it, when you do a hit, it will heal you for a certain percent. Willpower is for crowd control or CCs, or it's actually against them. Self-explanatory skill, the more you have, the less you will get CC'd. Let's see, Vitality increases your hit points or your HP. The more you have it, the more percent it will increase it by. Proficiency, good stat for PvE and PvP to a percent, or to a certain point, I should say. The more you have it, the more percent of damage you deal, basically. Determination is usually a tank for PvE and PvP, and just the basic PvP skill, or I mean a stat. So let's see, brutality. Uh, more you have it, at 75%, you will deal certain percent more damage, and 25% a lot more. The perfect stats. Let's see. Everybody's asking about those. Luck. Before we get to that, I'm gonna talk about luck real quick. Luck is really just not that important now, but for PvE it still works. PvP, you're just literally lucky to crit. So, going back to the perfect stats. For the offensive ones, proficiency, where I would keep it about 40, maybe 45 plus for PvE. Determination at 0, as I have my 52 mitts right now for a PvE build. Yeah, determination at 0 if you can, unless you're a tank, like I said. You can do 10 to 20 if you're a tank. Brutality, I usually do 45 on brutality for both PvE and PvP. So let's see. Offensive for PvE, 45, 0 for damage, and 10 to 20 as a tank. Proficiency, whatever you have left over. Okay, let's see. For defensive stats, basically tenacity to avoid wound complexity. I would do about 10 for PvP, and probably a lot less as damage or DPS in Astral or PvE, but maybe 5 to 10 as a tank. Bloodlust, I wouldn't use it too much in PvE. I would rely more on your healer, but in PvP, you cannot rely so much on your healer, as sometimes you don't get some. It depends what you do. I would keep it about where it's at. I mean, if you crit for 1,000,000 on something, you're gonna get, I think, 115k. That's 115k or 115,000 HP returned to you. Like I said, usually just for PvP. Willpower, just depends, I guess. It's for PvE, you don't need any. For PvP, I would keep it about 10 to 15. I guess it just depends on your runes and your stats and your role in the PvP. Vitality, try to keep it high, I guess, just because you need HP basically. Let's see. I should conclude it about. Let's talk a little bit about gear. For now, since the gear is reset, I would use the 52s for PvE, and mix to your liking of epic crafted, I believe 57, 58 for PvP, definitely, as it will increase your defensive stat more. And like I said, just balance them out. Don't go overboard. And for Astral gear, 60, I mean, it's all about balancing your gear. For example, if you take like Vitality shoulders, you might want to take Vitality here, Proficiency here, Brutality, and so on. Just need to balance stats, as I said earlier. And that's about it. Wraps it up. I will have my builds linked in my thread. Once again, thank you for reviewing. This has been Highrollers 101 Warrior.